Hey everybody, welcome back to Change Your Awareness, Change Your Perspective, Change Your Life. I am Dr. Michelina. I have hashtag that fellow doctor here to talk about my journey, here to talk about how to get to the core authentic self that you are, okay? And like I said, that is something that I worked very, very hard on for the last 5 years to really align my personal life and my professional life, my who and my do, my actions and my words, my values and like the way I show up in life. Like I worked and I continue to work very, very, very hard on that. I value that at high levels. And so it's always really kind of a beautiful thing when I get people who meet me for the first time and they're like, oh my God, you're literally so authentic. I'm like, hey, thanks. I work really hard on it. Appreciate that. So we talked a little bit yesterday about say what you mean what you say, right? What I think is a very important step in kind of building off of that is not just your emotion or your thoughts, but also your emotions, right? Now, this is a hard thing. Emotional awareness is a hard thing to grow for a lot of us who've been emotionally repressed for years, right? So one of the things I started to do was honor my emotions, which we don't like to do, right? I was just talking to someone who's like, I'm fine. I haven't cried in 10 years. I'm like, yeah, that's called emotional repression. Okay, that's what that is. One of the very fundamental facets of being human is crying and laughing. Like if you feel good laughing, you should feel just as good crying. And that was a thing I had to learn. Okay, I had to give myself permission to like let my emotions be felt. And I thought back to when I was a baby, right? When I was a child, and we're all babies. The only things that we can do basically are laugh and cry and like go to the bathroom. Like that's it. And so it's just kind of how we as humans communicate. So if you're priding yourself on not crying, which I've done, right? And never letting them see you sweat and never like looking like you're feeling off, you're inauthentic, okay? And I know that's tough to say, but you are inauthentic to yourself as a human. Because as a human, it is very natural to feel sorrow and grief and loss and to cry when that happens. Okay, that's a very normal release. So I had to give myself permission to be human. And because I really realized I functioned more like a robot. Like go, 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 push through. Now with AI, you can see the fundamental difference between us and AI is that we feel and they don't. So why do we feel like it's a badge of honor to not cry? Like that doesn't make you look strong, that makes you look weak. That makes you look like you're afraid of your own emotions. Having been afraid of my own emotions, yeah, you know. And so how do you get in touch with the fact that you're not okay? Well, that phrase, I'm not okay, is the way I always do it, right? Like I get very aware now of when my levels shift. Right, so like if I'm like everything's good and then everything goes to not good, I'm like, what was the trigger? What thing happened to bring me from here to here? What did I miss? What happened? Someone cut me off in traffic. Somebody said a hurtful comment. I saw something posted on Instagram. Like, could be anything, you know? You get good at paying attention to your triggers. And so you get good at paying attention to your levels, which, for the most part, most people have levels. Men and women are a little different here because women are far more emotional than men are, but that doesn't mean that men don't feel things, okay? Like they do. So why do I know men feel things? Because men are human. So of course they feel things, right? So that doesn't mean that you need to like get comfortable crying in front of everybody, right? That means you have to get comfortable sitting in the emotions. That's the thing. And it's like going to the gym, right? When you are really trying to have an effective workout, you don't resist the pain, you lean into it. You're like, damn, I'm gonna do this one more set. Even though it hurts, I'm leaning into this set and finishing it out. Emotions are not different, okay? Emotional growth, not different. It's the same kind of thing. Like, ow, this hurts. Instead of trying to drink it away, fuck it away, you know, read it away, watch TV it away, work it out away. Because working out, it like drains your mind. It doesn't lead you into your emotion, right? instead of doing all those things, you can like sit in it. Okay, that's how you start like honoring your emotions. You sit in it and you're just like, shit, this sucks. I'm just gonna sit in this for like 15 minutes and then I'm gonna move on. You know, people don't know how to sit in their stuff without drowning and or without getting overwhelmed and or without needing to get out of it real quick, right? We don't know how to be uncomfortable in our emotional state. Emotions have like a 15-minute cycle. So like let it, like, and emotions I always like to compare to waves. Let it wash over you and then you'll just move through it. Like the difference, like your emotions, if you are aware that they're there, you can dive through them, you can ride them out, you can go under them, or you can be overtaken by them. Another thing which is important, I think, about honoring your emotions is you're not good at emotion if you never go in the ocean. And what I mean by that is think about the ocean as your emotions, right? Turbulent on the top, kind of crazy, going deeper maybe. What we do a lot of times is we're like, wow, I'm such a good swimmer, which is to say, wow, I'm so good at emotions, but you've never actually gone in the ocean. So the reason you're such a good swimmer is because you don't swim. You know, it's like you're saying, I'm so good at emotions, but you never actually feel them. So you can't handle your own emotions, you're not going to be able to handle anybody else's. And this is really hard for the men because what women need is a safe space to put our emotions. Not you internalizing them, not you necessarily problem solving them, though sometimes that's helpful, but a safe space to just like let it fall. And we have a hard time doing this because emotions make us uncomfortable, and or we just disregard them, and or we just ignore them. And so like now, I mean, I'm at this point, I'm so good at emotion, which I wasn't for 20 so plus years, that when people come in, they have like heavy things happen, hard things happen, and they're like, why do you just want to sit in this with me? Like, why do you want to be in this with me? I'm like, I'm not drowning here. Like, this is fine. Like, I'm not drowning in this emotion, you know? I'll help you through it. I've already been in this pit. I've already been in these depths. Your depths are nothing compared to my depths, honestly. Like, that's like saying, like, somebody's like, how can you dive into 10 feet with me? And I'm like, my emotions are 500 feet. So 10 feet is a reprieve. It's nothing, you know? And so, of course, I had to work at that. So honoring your emotions is a massive way to come into being authentic. If you do not learn how to honor your emotions, you're never going to be authentic, because emotions are one of the most authentic things that we have as humans. They are who we are as humans, period. So, things that will help that, right? Don't say you're fine when you're not. Okay, it was a thing I used to do all the time. Like, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm okay, I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm not okay, right? That is where my nose is super itchy, guys. Why? That is where I start a lot of the times, is like when I check my levels, right? I was talking about this before. When my levels drop, I'm like, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. And something happens, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking aggravated. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? What was the thing that triggered me? What went on? In this space, before I go back and try to process, hey, I'm here now. Why am I here now? What's going on now? I will think to myself, I'm not okay. That's all I know, is I know I'm not okay. So what am I? How am I feeling? Why am I feeling it, right? And then I just start going through those processes that now I've gotten good at just doing naturally. But kind of that key phrase of like, I'm not okay, is a very helpful thing to bring awareness around the fact that, no, I'm not okay. Doesn't mean you won't be okay. Doesn't mean you won't handle it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be fine. It just means in this moment, something occurred and I am not okay. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with myself. I'm not okay with something. I'm feeling some type of way. Now, when you get really good at knowing yourself, you'll get good at knowing your triggers. So like for me, if I'm frustrated about something, it goes, that's the root, that's the symptom of the thing. It's the easily seen thing. I can always tell when I'm frustrated, surface level. But actually what that is usually a trust issue. I'm frustrated that this isn't happening in the way I want it to happen, and that's a control issue. And control, me trying to make everything happen, always goes to a trust issue. Trust issue always goes back to a abandonment issue, not being provided for. Abandonment always goes back to fear of being left. Everything goes back to a root of fear, and it's easily traceable when you get to know yourself, right? And also when you get to know other people and humans. So like things get very, very easy, but they don't get easy if you don't start honoring your emotions. So not just important to be honest and honor your word. It's also very important to honor your emotional state, because I am not saying, and I will never say, live by your emotions. That's bullshit. Don't do it. It's a terrible life decision. If you do it, you're going to constantly be in a yo-yo. We do not live by our feelings. We use our feelings to monitor. We live by our values, okay? We live by our standard of self. We live by our morals, okay? As someone who used to live by her feelings and didn't think she lived by her feelings, I'm telling you there's a difference. And you can always tell people who live by their feelings versus people who live by their values, because these people who live by their feelings do not know why they do what they do. It's very simple. If I say, hey, why'd you make that decision? People don't know. You're living by your feelings. The reason why you made that decision was because it was a feeling-based decision. There's no logic there. That's a feeling-based decision. You are living out of your feelings. If someone says, hey, why did you put that cart back? And I'll say, oh, because I like to leave things better than I found them. That's a moral that I've got now. That's a standard I have. I know exactly why I did that thing. Right? So if you want to get emotional awareness, if you think this is a live by your feelings, no, that's bull. Hell no. Okay? Do not live by your feelings. That's a terrible life decision. It's going to set you up to fail. I'm trying to get people to stop living by their feelings, because what happens is people live by their feelings and they don't realize they're living by their feelings. They think they're living by other things. It's like you're not, unfortunately. You don't want to get into a relationship because you're living out of all the broken relationships that you had, all the hurt, all the fear, all the pain, right? The things that we're resistant to, first off, anything we resist persists. But we're resistant to things because of our past hurts. And so we function out of our past stuff. We just do. And so all this to say, when you can get aware of your emotional state, it can help you navigate. We love that. Right? We love that. Because then we're not bleeding all over people who didn't cut us, didn't hurt us, didn't do anything for us. Like, I've said this before to people, I'm like, why am I getting mistreated for your past relationships? No, thank you. I'm not here for that. I've done too much healing work for that. No, thanks. Learn how to treat me or go away. You know? And so you can't learn how to treat somebody if you don't know how to treat yourself, if you don't know what it is that you're feeling. So emotional awareness is as important as self-awareness, and they're two different things. They're two different things, which people also don't know because they don't know anything about self-awareness and emotional awareness. And so all this to say, when you get good, or if you want to start getting better at emotional awareness, the first step is honor the fact that you're not okay. The rest of it, why, how, what do I do? That's all different. The first thing is you just have to be like, I am not okay right now. What am I? Not okay. And like for me, what I'll do is that in that time usually is like isolate. Like that's my MO at this point. It's like I isolate like a wounded animal, right? I'm like, I'm not okay. I'm going to remove myself because I know if I'm not okay, I am apt to hurt people, which I don't want to do. Right? So I will just remove myself and move through it myself. Like I got into a phone call with someone the other day and I didn't like the way that they were handling something. And I was like, listen, I have to go. I'm going to hang up on you. So I hang up because I was like, staying on this conversation and allowing this behavior is only going to make it worse. You're showing up in a way I don't care for, and I'm not here for it. I'm not giving my time and energy to this. I'm already not okay, and you're making it worse. Nope, cut, no thanks, not here for it. Then I have to go move through my own process. Right now I've isolated myself. I'm like, okay, now I need to move through my own process. I'm like, crap, I gotta go through this. What's going on with me? Right? So, ultimately, that was a big part, and still is, of my journey, is honoring my emotions. Like, it's okay to feel them. Here is what they are. Here are the ones I struggle with more than others. They exist. They're real. They don't control me. They don't own me. They just exist and are real and are worth paying some attention to. Right? And then it takes out the guesswork for other people. Because people are like, hey, how are you doing? I'm not okay, honestly. That was the other thing. Going back to yesterday, like honoring my words, using my words well. I was like, if somebody asks me how I'm doing and I'm not okay, I'm not telling them I'm okay. But I wanted to know what to tell them. You know what I mean? So, like, as an example, if someone was like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, oh, God, I'm so overwhelmed right now, honestly. Like, I have this going on, I have that going on, I have this going on, and I just feel like I can't get it all done. That is what I will give somebody back. And I go always back to, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. So if you ask me how I'm doing and you want a societally acceptable response, I'm not the girl for it. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Because now I know the truth. Now I know how I'm feeling. I'm not pretending like I'm okay when I'm not. It's not always true for everybody, right? At this point, you're not going to do that to a stranger, probably. Although, actually, to be perfectly honest, I have done it to a stranger. Not great today, honestly, but I appreciate you asking. Like, I've done that before, you know? Like, I just like to hit them off with some real talk. But, again, you don't owe everybody your story. So that's information dissemination is a different topic for a whole different day that we won't get into. But yes, so get emotionally aware. It is an important step in the authentic journey. Like, you got to do it. Otherwise, you aren't going to get to where you need to get. So, hope this is helpful. If you want to work on it, one-on-one coaching is open. Drop a comment. Find me on my socials. Also, Seasons and Signs Academy will help you here because that's the whole point of the community and the coaches there. So that link is in the description and also the pinned comment below. So check that out. And I will keep bringing you all of this good stuff. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you guys on the next video.